Hey there, Tiki here. It's gonna be part two of the book haul, Salvation Army sale that we're having at again. So next 10 books. Well, I'll do the books that I got from a non-thrift store. A non-Salvation Army thrift store. First book is East of Eden by John Steinbeck. I've been hearing mixed reviews for this book, so I decided just to get it. So this is just a standalone book. It says, Adam Task came from California from the east to farm and raise his family on the new rich land. But the birth of his twins, Cal and Aaron, brings his wife to the brink of madness, and Adam is left alone to raise his boys to manhood. One boy thrives, nurtured by the love of all around him. The other grows up in a loneliness enveloped in a mysterious darkness. And it says, as Steinbeck interweaves the stories of Trask and their neighbors, the prosperous, open-hearted Hamptons, he portrays men and women determined to conquer not only the land, but the forces of love and hate, trust, and suspicion with their hearts. So yeah, I've been hearing mixed reviews for that. Next up is The Help by Catherine Sackett. I've seen the movie for this a couple ages ago, and I was debating on getting the book because the movie was actually pretty good. So, but I'll actually read the book and then rewatch the movie if I could find it. But yeah, and the next up from this last book from the non-Salvation Army thrift store is Buja Born by Zaradia Cordova. This is the second book in the Brooklyn Buja series. So yeah, it seemed interesting. So yeah, so there's that haul, and the next 10 books is the last thrift store I went to that has the sale. Let's see. Okay. Attachments by Rambo Royale. I've been hearing mixed reviews about this book too, and I hear that Rainbow is a good author, so we'll see on how it goes. I'm not going to read the synopsis because you probably already heard it millions of times on BookTube already. Next up is Sketches by Eric Walters. Now this is a standalone, so it says, my eyes popped open for a split second. I didn't know where I was, and I was scared. Then it came back. I was in an abandoned building, sleeping on top of 2 desks pushed together against the wall. Ashley was beside me, and Brent was beside her on the outside. He was always on the outside. He made sure he was always between us and whatever could hurt us, and there were so many things. My ears perked up. I heard something moving in the darkness. I slowly sat up and peered over Ashley and Brent into the darkness. I couldn't see anything, but I could still hear it. There was somebody moving around in the room. I felt a rush of panic. I heard more rustling, not loud. Carefully, I slowly reached to the place where I remembered that Brent had left the flashlight. I fumbled around until I found it. I turned it on and shone the light around the room, and a big brown rat sat up, its red eyes gleaming back at me. So, yeah, it just sounded kind of quirky and, something I would probably be interested in. And the flap says, Dana's on the run from her family, her suburban home, and most of all, her stepfather. Alone in downtown Toronto, with no money, Diana joins the world of street kids, full of turf wars, gangs, and hunger. With the help of her new friends, Dana tries to disappear and forget the life she left behind. Then a man sees Dana's spray painting graffiti on an underpass, and he invites her to Sketches, a drop-in center where homeless teens make art. For Diana, it's also unexpected heaven, and she works on her self-portrait. A terrible secret from her past begins to rise to the surface. But will she break her silence before the strain of life on the street gets the best of her? So yeah, it just sounded interesting to me. So yeah, that's Sketches. Next one is Ship Out of Luck by Neil Shusterman. I read what book did I read? Scythe by him. So this is the third book in the Ansi Bonono series. So yeah. Next up is Alchemy's Fowl. This is the first book in the Alchemy's Fowl series. This is also by Ian Clover. So yeah, this is kind of like teen fiction, I think. So yeah. Next up is Victress by V.E. Schwab. This is the first book in the Villains series. So it says, Victor and Ellie started out as college roommates, brilliant, arrogant, lonely boys who recognized the same sharpness and ambition in each other. In their senior year, a shared research interest in adrenaline, near-death experiences, and seemingly supernatural events reveals an intriguing possibility that under the right conditions, someone could develop extraordinary abilities. But when their thesis moves from the academic to the experimental, things go horribly wrong. So yeah, I've been hearing good reviews about this author, V. Schwab. Next up is Tough Customer by Sandra Brown. This is the second book in the Michelle and Associates series. I read a couple of her books already, so I'm not going to read the synopsis for this since it's the second book. Next up is White Hot, also by Sandra Brown. It says, when she hears that her younger brother Danny has committed suicide, Sarah Leach relents from her vow never to return to Destiny, the small Louisiana town in which she grew up. She plans to leave immediately after a funeral, but instead soon finds herself drawn into the web cast by Hoyle, her controlling and tyrannical father, the man who owns the town's sole industry, an iron foundry, and in effect runs the lives of everyone who lives there. As she feared, Sarah learns that nothing has changed. Her father and her older brother Chris are as devious as ever, and now they have a new partner in crime, a canning and disarming lawyer named Beck Merchant, who appears to be their equal in corruption. Soon Sarah is thrown in closer contact with Beck and becomes convinced that something more sinister is in play than her father's usual need to dominate people and events. As she sets out to learn just what did happen to Danny, she comes to realize that there are many secrets in destiny, secrets that hide decades of pain and anger, and that threatened at any moment to erupt and destroy not only her father and brother, but perhaps Sarah herself. Underneath the rigid control that the Hoyles exert over the town, trouble is brewing. Old hatreds foster plans for revenge, past crimes resurface, and Mendrick deputy sheriff determines that Danny Hoyle's death was not suicide but murder. As tensions mount, threaten to ignite a power keg of long-held hostility, Sarah finds herself extensively drawn into a struggle with striking laborers, her unscrupulous father, I probably butchered that name or that word, and her own emotions over the love-hate relationship that is growing with Beck, a man apparently with his own agenda and mysteries of his own. As she is shown in dozens of best-selling novels, and then it says, is shown in the dozens of best-selling novels in which she combined hard-edged suspense with intense emotion, Shonda Brown is the master storyteller. In her new novel, she is at her best. So I just found it kind of, thrilling and interesting to read. Next up is Bad by Tim Thrift. I haven't really seen this book on any booktuber, from ones I follow anyway. But it just sounded interesting to me. So this says, CJ has never been pretty or popular, but she knows who she is. She's younger sister to Bobby, the most charming bad boy in town. Bobby's ways are a bit wild, but with his big heart and sense of fun, people can't help but like him. Nobody in her town or her family has ever understood CJ like Bobby, and that's why she can't wait for him to come home for his last tour in Iraq. But when Bobby returns, it's all wrong. He comes home early than he's supposed to, unannounced, and seems to be avoiding the whole family and acting strange. His wild streak has become reckless, and his sense of fun desperate. CJ is losing her brother, and without him, she hardly knows who she is. Everything is different, and she begins to re-examine the people in her community and her family. She realizes that even though it's hard to believe in the strength when her hero is broken, maybe true strength is not quite what she thought. So yeah, it just sounded weird, but something I would like to read. Next two books are Lights on the Nile by Donna Jo Napoli. This is the, so yeah, it says, Kepi is a young girl in ancient Egypt, content to stay home with her family, helping her father, who was wounded in a construction of a pyramid for cruel Pharaoh Khufu. But that was before she had her pet Babu. Were kidnapped and held captive on a boat bound for the capital city, Inbet-Hajet. And when Kepi and Babu were separated, she knows she only has one choice: to make her way to the capital on her own, rescue Babu, and find her way to appeal to the Pharaoh. Khufu is rich and powerful, but Kepi, one of those three names, has her own powers deep inside her, ones she herself doesn't even know about yet. So, next book is 3 books in 1. So yeah, it's The Cat Who Talked to Ghosts, The Cat Who Knew a Cardinal, and The Cat Who Lived High, all by Lillian Jackson Braun. I don't know what order these are in, because I have a list on what books to read first. So yeah, those are all the books. So yeah, that's it. Tinky out.